Leave it, man. So let's take a few minutes to talk about the human brain. Basically, we have three brains. Let's call those three brains the snake brain, the dog brain, and the kid brain. Let's start with the snake brain. The snake brain, or our brainstem, or some people call it the reptilian brain, is the oldest part of our brain. It's like 500 million years old. And its primary focus is one thing: survival. Snake brain doesn't waste any time on emotions and insight and complex thinking because the snake's brain's not wired for that. So when you look into the eyes of a snake, you don't see joy or love or compassion because snakes' brains aren't focusing on joy, love, and compassion or insightful thinking. They're more about eating, slithering, hunting, digesting, and making little snakes. A snake's brain wants to keep that snake alive. Now, when you look into the eyes of a dog, most people go, "Ah." That is because a dog, in addition to having a brainstem or a reptilian brain that's about survival, they also have an evolved limbic brain or mammalian brain, which allows them to experience emotion, to form connections, to bond, and most relevant to us playmakers, to play. Because if you don't bond with them, you don't socialize them, you don't treat them well, they may not develop that limbic brain and they'll start acting and responding more like a snake. Now, when you look into the eyes of a healthy child, like my little boy Ben over here, what do you see? See, a child also has a brain stem that's responsible for survival, and they have a limbic mammalian brain, which allows them to experience positive emotions and explore and play. And in addition to that, they have a kid brain or a prefrontal cortex, which gives them the ability to think on a much more complex, abstract level, to learn, to create, to explore the world in unique ways, to play Monopoly, and basically do all of those things that we hope our kids get to grow up to do. Psychiatrist Bruce Perry, who's also a child trauma expert, once said that our brain develops in use-dependent ways. That's brilliant. How we use our brain will influence how our brain develops. So if a child who's growing up amidst a lot of uncertainty and fear has to really use their brain to fight, to flee, and to survive, then their reptilian brain or their snake brain becomes more engaged, more sensitive, more online at the expense of their dog brain and their kid brain. So this results in a brain that is more reactive to threat at the expense of forming trusting relationships or exploring and learning. So as playmakers, we got to remember that before we can dive in and teach the child, first we got to calm that snake, help that child to feel secure and comfortable. Then we got to bond with the dog, playing with them, forming a positive emotional connection. And then, and really only then, can we effectively teach the child.